Welcome back to the Rollup. Michael O'Rourke, founder, CEO of POKT Network, and now Grove. So tell us a little bit about Grove, why you chose to take POKT in this direction.
Absolutely, yeah. So we incorporated POKT Network Inc. in 2017, not really knowing what it would evolve into or anything like that. And in effect, the company acted as both the foundation and building the protocol, and then now building the business on top of the protocol, showing other people how to do it. And in January this year, we formally separated the foundation from the company. They're doing an amazing job. And rebranding POKT Network Inc. Into Grove is a really important step in the direction of decentralizing the demand side of the protocol. We've done an incredible job of getting a super diverse and supportive supply side of the network. And now that we're ramping up on our V1 efforts, it's really important to not take away from all the other potential gateways that we're building, that we can build on the network itself. So one of the big things about what Grove is doing is we're going to be open sourcing our portal infrastructure sometime later this year, maybe early next year. And what that does is it allows people to build sovereign portal businesses on top of POKT. And that's kind of the idea behind Grove too, is that each another portal adds kind of another tree to the Grove, if you will. I'm big on the solar punk kind of meme, if you will, and it's really building this kind of supply or this demand side community within that ultimately everything settles on POKT Network.
So tell us a little bit more about the supply side and then the demand side. I think this is something that is core to economics, and that's almost what we're building here at mainnet, is like alternative economies that are spun up on all these networks. Yeah, that I think it's a helpful mental model to build. So maybe tell us a little bit more about the supply side and the demand side at POKT.
Yeah, I was actually just on a DPIN panel with Helium and Live Peer and Demo, and it's interesting how we're all kind of solving similar problems, just in different ways. But really getting the demand side really kicked off is what really completes the flywheel for a network like POKT. We've seen so many different contributions, and everyone really incentivized to improve the network on the supply side. But up until now, it's really just been Grove actually driving demand to the network. And of course, we're heavily incentivized to improve the protocol and do things. But at the end of the day, you have this two-sided marketplace on the supply and demand, where you have many gateway providers providing the core business, not just to the protocol, but also to the end users, which are different app developers and that sort of thing. So for me, the really important part about this is that we're actually going to be able to have an ecosystem that compounds and grows, because we've got the whole side, the whole marketplace kind of complete in that respect. We made it easy to run a node, fantastic. Now let's make it really easy to run a gateway, such that a team of 1 to 3 people can take a package, install it on their server, and all of a sudden start generating RPC endpoints for customers, right? So I think there's going to be lots of different types of gateways that'll end up kind of going into different niches. This could be regional gateways, like if I'm in Bangalore, India, maybe I will sell to everyone kind of in my region, right? Or in South America, right? I think there's going to be a lot of support for people building gateways like that. I think we're going to see lots of different kind of app-specific gateways, things like repackaging, like account abstraction services that allows them to kind of upsell the RPC, for example. There may be types of apps that want to do rollups as a service, for example, and provide the endpoints for that. I think we'll see functional or vertical specific gateways. So maybe I cater to DeFi or GameFi or social or other types of infrastructure networks, for example. Because the problem is that there's literally an infinite number of solutions that people can build to cater to developers. And the problem today with centralized providers is that they have to make trade-offs with what they want to support. And at the end of the day, what they do is they end up supporting the biggest or most profitable use case. But some people might see a really big opportunity for them. And now with open sourcing the portal, they'll be able to service that super quickly and easily, because it's a huge pain to build a full stack gateway with running the nodes and providing the infrastructure and then taking all the learnings that we've had over the last 2 years in terms of having world-class quality of service at scale with a network with 1 to 2 billion requests. We feel like now we can take that, take it in a nice package, make it really easy for people to have 100% confidence that they're going to have the same world-class quality of service that we do, and then be able to go sell and build their businesses on top of Pocket. And that, for me, particularly when it comes to the longevity and the sustainability of the protocol, particularly when we talk about the economics of the protocol, that's what's going to really create this kind of compounding flywheel effect, which is just incredibly exciting for me. So that's kind of the whole Grove kind of thinking, is that like we're able to provide a service without the traditional trade-offs that you would have to do with like Web2 and this sort of thing. And it's kind of like building in the shade, if you will, a nice quiet place where people can focus and focus on what they really should be focusing on their applications at the end of the day.
Yeah, and open source tech is so important for that, so that they have the access to all of the infrastructure that they may need to incorporate into their stack, depending on what they want to build, whether it's a Rollup as a service or if it's another piece of infrastructure. And now you mentioned that you have kind of the tools for these developers to build what they want to build. Trustlessly, permissionlessly, they can start to use the Pocket network and Grove to build additional gateways. And we talk a lot about the rollups, right? We are the rollups. We talk a lot about these modular rollups. There's quite a few technology stacks, and I think the terminology that you use is maybe unique to Pocket and Grove. Like, there's a lot of gateways and portals. So for kind of building like this understanding and maybe like drawing parallels with the rollups and the blockchain, the network layer, and then the app layer on top, how can we think about gateways and portals in a similar sense that we think about networks and apps?
Yeah. So think about it like, you've got websites like Squarespace or Wix, right? And there's a whole set of middleware infrastructure that allows people to build their website super easily, right? Basically, we're part of that critical infrastructure such that people can launch their own rollups super easily, right? And there'll be pieces of the middleware stack that people decide to use or not use. But at the end of the day, all these things are going to fit together kind of like a puzzle and enable people to really build novel and unique businesses or protocols leveraging this infrastructure technology. So it's pretty exciting.
You've recently incorporated a new piece, kind of like this mysterious piece that I'm hoping to demystify with you here, which is Celestia and the data availability piece of that middleware stack. So I'm curious, how does Grove fit together with Celestia, and then how can developers also leverage Grove and Celestia together in that infrastructure unit, and then start to build on top when they have data availability and they have the infrastructure all built in already, and then they can focus on what they want to do, and that's ultimately reach users.
Yeah, for us, it's a question of focus. For the first time, we just to backtrack a little bit, we launched our spec for V1 last year, and at the time there were no rollups. Celestia wasn't close to being launched. All we really had was Tendermint. And at the time, that wasn't quite sufficient for what we needed, so we opted to say, hey, let's build our own blockchain, which has gotten us to where we are today. And more recently, we've been able to do some research, and basically across the entire landscape, because now we have Optimism, we have Arbitrum, we have Bedrock, you've got Celestia launching soon. You've got all these different options now of what you can build on, and rather than having a 10-person protocol team working on peer-to-peer, on consensus, on persistence, and utility layer, we're able to lessen the amount of software that we maintain and really focus on what makes Pocket, which is at the end of the day, the utility layer. So we are planning to move off of Tendermint and actually launch Pocket as a rollup on top of Celestia. This is exciting because now we don't have to worry about the DA, the data availability layer, or the settlement layer. We can let them, who are really purely focused on that, focus on improving that side of the stack, and allow us to really improve Pocket more quickly and more rapidly.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that because it's one of these tendencies as an ecosystem tends to mature. You're able to specialize, and then you can focus on what you do best, and it opens up kind of a divide and conquer approach. Celestia is best at data availability, and they can focus on that, and they can specialize and do it really, really well. And now Pocket is able to focus on what Pocket does best at the utility level and provide these infrastructure tools for developers to come build on top of this new modular rollup from Pocket and leverage those infrastructure tools to hopefully develop applications that have mass appeal. So I'm curious, like, what are you most excited about with some of the projects that you've been talking to at mainnet, kind of on your tour across those different conferences? Like, who did you most enjoy speaking to? Like, who was very excited about Pocket, and then who are you most excited about building with?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I was on this DPIN panel, and we're kind of solving the same problems in different ways. And these guys are all, many of them are going to kind of a more consumer-like market, like Helium with their kind of 5G network, or DMO with the driving of the cars. And I just, talking to them before and after the panel and during the panel, you're just like, wow, these are the things that actually separates from kind of this self-referential, let's call it a DeFi rabbit hole, and it's actually people solving real world problems such that, if I'm a Helium 5G user, for example, I can go and tell my parents or my family and my cousins, hey, $5 cell service, that's really good, right? That's completely, outside of the traditional circle and people being on board. And someone made a comment that I thought was really interesting, was that all 4 of our networks that were on that panel have onboarded people that were not actually in crypto before. Many of us were actually people's first experience into crypto, at least on the supply infrastructure side. And for me, people building these products and going to market, and I think in many ways the right way, it's just very exciting for me to see the actual world that we touch expand through infrastructure, but also through kind of the more consumer market. And we all are, it's a hard problem because we have to build the protocol, we have to build the product, and we have to show people the infrastructure so that other people can work on the same product. And it's just a very difficult thing to do, especially if no one's ever done it before. So it's, for me, really exciting to see other people not only going through the same things that we are, but also seeing real success in adoption outside of kind of the tail, the snake eating its own tail that we see a lot today.
And it was part of the reason we rebranded from DeFi Slate, because we don't want to just stick to like the same 10 people that are trading against each other. It's like we want to expand our horizons.
Yeah.
And now we're the Rollup, and we incorporate hopefully technology and infrastructure that can appeal to the masses. Like we want to onboard the normies. We want to onboard people that don't really care about crypto, but ultimately the people in this room have thought a lot about disintermediating and decentralization. And even if someone doesn't realize that they're using crypto and blockchain underneath the hood, it's still important that they do, so that we can take this industry in a direction and take a lot of like technology in a direction that's more open, more trustless, and doesn't rely on some of these same providers that turn into monopolies and then rent seek and take all the profit that could get passed on to the normies themselves.
Yeah, I mean, as this technology improves, and as we start to learn the different frameworks for the economics of these protocols and the governance of these protocols, I really fundamentally believe we're going to live in a world with thousands, tens of thousands of different blockchains or rollups, depending on how you define it. I think it's going to be very easy for people to experiment, and it's frankly part of human nature. And as technology continues to improve, for example, we didn't have all the ZK technology that exists today, 5 years ago, for example, right? And we're going to keep having improvements. We're going to continue having reasons for people to make iterative improvements, and not only just iterative improvements, but truly like 0 to 1 improvements by being able to put things together in different ways. So as that starts to mature, I fully expect us to see a massive explosion of rollups, L1s, app chains, and these sorts of things. So for me, that's what's exciting for me. I'm hoping Pocket and Grove can support all of that, given where we sit in the middle of the stack.
part of what's most exciting is just kind of the imagination of it all. It's like you don't know what's going to come next.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to onboard all these people, but everyone here like has this feeling that like there's something coming. I have it too, and it sounds like you have it. Like that's why we build all this infrastructure is because someone's going to come along and they're going to build something that really capitalizes and strikes a nerve and takes it takes a mind share of people. And I think we all kind of feel like that's coming. And it's pretty exciting to think about like what that could be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the mental models on how to build these things are improving. In our case, and I think the entire kind of DePIN space, it's not necessarily, hundreds of thousands of users or millions of users, but it's hundreds of companies that can leverage a framework or some set of software that allows them to kind of build their business independently. And that for me, whether it's regionally or, jurisdictionally or functional specific, I think we're just going to see an explosion of entrepreneurs building on protocols like POKT at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well said. I think that's a great place to capitalize and cap off. So thanks for coming on the Rollup again. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully we can do this again regularly so we can keep up to date on all the projects at POKT.
Yeah. No. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Fun.
Yeah.
Always.
Likewise, man.
Seriously.